Here is the full detailed story of the Baghdad battery, separating the established facts from the popular myth. The short answer: the truth. The object known as the Baghdad battery is a genuine archaeological artifact, but its true purpose remains unknown. The idea that it was an ancient galvanic cell battery is a compelling modern hypothesis, not a confirmed fact. Most archaeologists and historians favor a more mundane explanation. It was a sacred scroll jar for storing important religious or magical texts. The full story: discovery, description, and debate. When 1936, during excavations in the village of Khujut Rabu, near Baghdad, Iraq, who, led by Wilhelm König, who was the director of the National Museum of Iraq at the time. Cultural context: the artifacts were found in a subterranean tomb dating from the Parthian period, c. 250 BCE, 224 CE. The Parthians were a powerful empire that controlled the region between the Roman Empire and the Han Dynasty of China. The battery is not a single object but a collection of several similar artifacts. A typical example consists of three components. 1. A 13 cm 5-inch tall clay jar. It was yellowish in color and shaped like a vase. 2. A copper cylinder. This was soldered shut at the top with a lid tin alloy and housed inside the jar. 3. An iron rod. This was suspended inside the copper cylinder, insulated from it at the top by an asphalt bitumen plug. The iron rod showed signs of acid corrosion. This construction, two different metals separated by an electrolyte, is what sparked the battery hypothesis. The battery hypothesis. The theory was first proposed seriously by Wilhelm König himself. He speculated that if the jar were filled with an acidic or alkaline liquid, like vinegar, wine, or lemon juice, it would act as an electrolyte. This would create a chemical reaction between the copper cylinder, the cathode, and the iron rod, the anode, generating a small electric potential difference, about 0.8 to 1.1 volts. Proposed uses: the myth. Proponents of the battery theory have suggested several imaginative uses. Electroplating. The most common theory is that it was used to electroplate gold onto silver objects. This would explain the fine gold plating found on some Parthian artifacts. Medical therapy. Some suggest it could have been used for a form of electrotherapy, perhaps to numb pain or create a sense of mystical awe. Religious experience. A weak current applied to a metal statue might produce a faint tingling sensation, convincing worshippers of a divine presence. The problems in the scholarly consensus. While a fascinating idea, the battery hypothesis faces several major criticisms, and most experts in the field reject it. 1. Lack of evidence. There are no wires, no connectors, and no evidence of any devices that could have used the electricity. If they were common tools, we would expect to find more evidence of their use. Inefficiency. The power generated by a single cell is extremely weak. To achieve anything practical, like electroplating, you would need many of them connected together. There is no evidence they were ever used in series. Better alternatives. The ancient world had well-established and effective chemical gilding techniques, like using mercury to create an amalgam. Electroplating with such a weak current would be incredibly slow and inefficient compared to these known methods. The most plausible explanation: scroll storage. The design perfectly matches that of schematic vessels found in nearby Seleucia. These were used for storing sacred papyrus or parchment scrolls. The asphalt stopper would hermetically seal the interior, protecting the organic scroll from insects and moisture. The corrosion on the iron rod could be explained by its reaction to acidic vapors from the decaying scroll over centuries, not an intentional electrolyte. The experimental test. The most famous experiment was conducted by Dr. Arne Eggebrecht in the 1970s. He connected many replicas together, claimed to have electroplated a small silver statue with gold, and filmed the process. However, this experiment has been heavily criticized. The documentary was made for television, and the full scientific data was never published in a peer-reviewed journal, leading many to question its validity and methodology. Modern replicas do show that the objects can produce a small voltage, but this only proves it's possible, not that it was their intended purpose. Who invented it and when? Who? We don't know the name of an individual inventor. It was created by a craftsman or culture within the Parthian Empire. when sometime during the Parthian period, between 250 BCE and 224 CE, what it is, a genuine archaeological artifact whose true purpose is lost to history. The consensus. It was almost certainly a specialized storage jar for religious scrolls. The ancient battery theory is a captivating 20th century myth, born from a modern interpretation of its structure, but it lacks archaeological support. The story of the Baghdad battery is a perfect example of how a modern fascination with technology can reshape our interpretation of the past, often creating a more exciting, but less accurate narrative than the reality. The truth is more mundane, but it offers a valuable window into the daily and religious life of the ancient Parthians.